Hello. Oh, you're on mute.
In fact, hello. In fact, our team has awards each quarter that we put together. Did you see my?
Exactly. Yeah, I was about to say, yep.
So I'm going to have to add this to my journal. How are you? You're looking
Good.
great.
Yeah, good, really good. It's just really warm here, but I don't know if I can do anything about it. Maybe I'm
Oh,
just
warm
gonna.
sounds nice. We don't have that here.
Mm. But good, good. Thank you for asking. So it's really like getting in front of the door of the new era, but really, I mean, exciting. Ups and downs, life happens, and I have my skippy moments, of course. But it's all about managing it and just like, yeah, we're gonna talk about that also, of
Yeah,
course. But yeah, really, yeah, I think it's been really interesting to see how I have also been, the product of what I preach. So yeah, things happen, challenges happen, and you just, get back. And that's nice to see because before it took way longer. So, for instance, like my mom has some health challenges now, and it's really, coinciding with, the whole pregnancy story and like interesting to experience how giving yourself the space to leave that as well releases the tension and just, you get back. Yeah. Mm.
wow. Yeah, but so many things to consider outside just the standard
Yeah.
things.
Exactly. It's not
Mm.
it's not rainbows and unicorns, like it's generally good, but life happens and yeah, like I said, good to see that, that resilience or whatever we call it is there. But now you, my lady. So
Ah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
we're here for you, generally speaking. So how are you today?
Today, good. In the last week, what's really helped me, and it really shows me how much of this is some of the things going on. I'm going through perimenopause, as I think I said. And last week, I
Mm-hmm.
went to my doctor again, and we've messed with my HRT formula.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's made all the difference.
Mm.
All the difference. I'm sleeping tons better. My
Wow.
anxiety has reduced a lot. It's not gone, but it's greatly reduced and for a really pretty small change.
Mm-hmm.
And that has just made all the difference for me in the skippy moments too, obviously, because the hormones are what drive these
Mm-hmm.
brain, this sort of death spiraling and the sort of the second guessing everything and the sort of the panic and the it's just so much. So being able to sleep better and not having that anxiety all the time and having a bit
Mm-hmm.
more that dampening on the roller
Mm-hmm.
coaster
Mm-hmm.
has proved so it's so much more outsized than I keep being surprised by how big this is for me.
Yeah, I
Everybody's
think
got
not
their
only
own
for
thing.
you, but
No, it's
generally,
not only
yeah,
for me. Some people
yeah,
have managed great. Some people have it even
uh-huh,
worse for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, uh-huh,
But I just never thought about what that would be like for me. And whatever I did, it was much bigger. This is much bigger. So it's made a
mm-hmm,
huge difference. And it's meant that in the last week, I feel like I've gained some of my perspective back.
mm-hmm,
And then last night, some of my medical tests came back overnight. And of course, one, they're in Dutch, and two, they're in medical language. So
mm,
I've literally first put it through Google Translate and then put it through Google AI just to
uh-huh,
say,
what? Yeah,
what does this really mean? And I
yeah,
think it's good. I won't find out till after Easter with my next medical appointment, but
mm-hmm,
um, again, all of that weighing on my mind as well. So I think those two things have helped quite a bit. It's not everything, but it's a
Mm-hmm.
big chunk to help me figure out how I deal with the other stuff. How do I do that from a real standpoint instead of from this
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
hippie standpoint?
Mhm. Nice. Well, good news. I'm really happy to hear that. And you look great. You look energetic and like I have a plan looking,
I'm feeling it today. I'm feeling it today, and it makes all the difference. It's
Mhm,
just been so hard to even do anything. I've
mhm,
really struggled. Yeah, and it's only
mhm,
when you see it from the side that you realize. I've talked to people who have depression or anxiety, other issues, and when they're in the midst of it, you can't pull yourself out of it. It's very
mm,
difficult. So,
mhm,
and again, I know what I have is so much less than what other people do, but I recognize enough of it to go, okay,
mhm.
I need to be able to find the ways out because
Yeah,
when I do, it changes everything,
exactly.
everything.
Yeah, yeah. And that whole idea of I want to find that way out and, kind of get upward in this spiral is, I mean, I hate to say it, but it's, in many cases, it's a choice. To be honest, in most cases, it's a choice. I get it. There are, medical conditions that, really diminish this choice and the ability of one to make this choice. But in 90% of cases, I think it's a choice. And I'm really glad you made all the steps and made the choice. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, and what I need to do is make sure the next time, how do I know enough of my triggers is I need to do something. I need to
Hmm.
act,
Hmm.
and I'm going to need to find the things to help me act to get myself
Hmm.
out of it. It's just this spiral of act, not act, act, not act, and
Uh-huh.
it's breaking the spiral,
Hmm.
that becomes then the next hurdle. But I'm there, and today I'm in a good place.
Fantastic. We're going to talk about the spiral as well and the
Mm.
excellent good. Okay, is there anything else I need to know of? Any updates, anything that needs to be on the table before we start?
So I had I've had a total of about 15 minutes with my boss ever
Hmm. Hmm.
since he took over officially.
Okay.
So I've had no real time with him.
Hmm.
I wanted to get into the whole sort of where are we going, but because I had so little time, it was like, yeah, no, this is not happening. And that has put a damper on this. I'm supposed to be meeting with him after the holiday. So
Hmm.
I laid for him very quickly a little breadcrumb that will help me get there in the
Hmm.
next discussion with him to say, hey, this is where I am. This is what I want to do because I need to make sure that he understands that before I start broadcasting things.
Yeah. Hmm.
And I need to make sure that he knows that in the meantime, I'm fully committed. You know, I'm not going anywhere for the moment. And I will do everything I can and should and want to, all those things. It's not going to change anything else outside of
Hmm.
where I go next.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
so that's just been, I feel like that's a big part of what I can do publicly. The
Hmm.
privately part stuff's been okay. And again, like I'd said, it's just been so hard for me to get out of a lot of it. But I've had a couple of good conversations and a couple of good connections to sort of, and then I'm waiting for a couple more. One person said he's like 5 people to connect me to. Fantastic. But then I need to go back to him and say, hey, don't forget me, please. Um,
Hmm.
so little bits and pieces, but not huge.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Are you
The other
confident
good
to? Yeah, go on, please.
the other good news for me is that my build is coming up. It's in 2 months.
Hmm.
And that for me that's my big energy builder. That is for me what absolutely that is the dynamo itself. And so
Hmm.
I know that in 2 months I'm going to come back with a whole new plateau of energy. and
Hmm.
and that helps me figure, okay, anything I need that might flatten me out in the next couple months, I know it's temporary.
Okay, good, 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 good. Okay, here is one question I want to ask about that meeting
Mm.
with your boss. So you said like it's a he, right? That like it's not happening, right? So you like what exactly did you tell him? So what's the positioning
So,
there?
so I've said, look, when we have some real time, I'd like to talk to you about where I'd like to go with my
Uh-huh.
career,
Uh-huh.
some of the things I'm thinking, and to get your advice and input on how I manage that.
Uh-huh.
So it was sort of, I really, with this little time I had, I didn't want to start a conversation I couldn't
Sure.
use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So he said yes, and it was in relation to the fact that, again, this is part of the frustration. He's been saying for multiple months he's going to open my old manager's job rec, and he's going to do that. And there is an expectation that I should apply for this job.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I don't want to.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
he needs to understand why. So it gives me a really easy into that topic, because if I don't, I need to ensure that that is not going to impact my, how I'm seen, my perception,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And why I'm not going for that and what that means.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
That's
Uh-huh.
step part one of what I need to. Step two is that he understands what I'm going to start saying publicly. Step three is how can he help me?
Yeah, exactly. Uh-huh. Yeah. And here is one thing that I just want to put on the table. So you have this
Please.
conversation with him eventually. How can we make sure it's somewhere in the HR records what you're willing to do? You see where I'm going, right? Um,
We have something at Adidas that's a good point. My IDP is the answer to that,
mhm,
which is an
exactly.
individual
Yeah.
development plan.
Mm-hmm.
So that's separate. It used to be that in our formal performance planning, they
Mm-hmm.
had stuff for your own development stuff. That is
Mm-hmm.
where I would have put that. They've changed that as of this year. So now there is something on top of that that I would need to sort of formally create with him.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a really good point, that that will be my core of my IDP, is the career change.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Is your timing regular on that? So yeah, when do you feel that in? Mhm.
No, because they've taken that away now with the new process.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was part of the every quarter you
yeah.
have this, and
Mhm.
now they've completely taken out any personal goals out of the planning.
Interesting.
It's
Yeah,
oh
well,
yeah, that yeah. Don't get me started on that, but it is
mhm.
something that I will ask him how to formalize that a little bit more.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna put this here, like, by the side.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you're willing, what I can share, and that's something we did very smartly with one other client. So they do have some sort of an awkward IDP process as well. But anyways, when she initiated that sort of conversation of, a promotion changes, trajectory, she just had a conversation of, yeah, this is what I'm willing to do. And then sort of a co-ownership creation piece there of how can you help me do that? And then we created sort of a proper follow-up, like email, that's it. This is what we said, sort of. And I hope she doesn't need to reference it ever, but the company is in a restructuring modality, so you never know. So having such follow-up is useful. So if you want, I can just like, take out the
That would
names
be
and share. Yeah.
yeah, that would be ideal. That would be perfect.
Hmm. Okay. So I'm just gonna lay that out. It's very like mild. You can really just, make it informal, but that creates some like shared responsibility. Let's put it this way. Hmm.
Nice, cool. Thank you, thank you.
Okay,
That's really
good,
useful.
good, good, good.
Okay.
All right, super. So what we said in some little prep is we're gonna talk three things today. If you feel
Yep.
like something else is coming up, do say so. Share. We do slideshow. Ding 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 ding. Just very few slides today. I'm gonna talk more and really plan it for action. So skip it to Dynamo, priorities reset, and that network and growth activation finished with an action plan. So I really want you to have an action plan, and I want to see and hear how it goes until I am still, able to push some buttons on my phone. So first one, Skippy to Dynamo. First question: do you like nachos?
Who doesn't like nachos?
Okay, good. So I want to offer you this technique that we're going to try, which is called nacho, which stands for noticing, first of all, what is Skippy saying about the whole setting, situation, you're feeling. Second one is allowing that feeling to be experienced. Um, C is for choosing, who is in the driver's seat. We touched on that.
Mm-hmm.
And here is what I want you to really like use. So you said like, and we know that you're action driven. Have a go, which is when you're in the down moment, what's the smallest thing that Dynamo would do? Right. And that's sort of like a must have thing. So the Dynamo Ember should really do something out of this. If she's unable to do it, that means you need to go back to probably the N and the A. So really give
Mm-hmm.
more space
Mm-hmm.
to Skippy to like really put more of like, okay, this won't work,
Sit there
nothing is
longer.
working.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then really make that space for the feeling, because that's the spiral of Skippy, the N and the A, right?
Mm.
If you haven't
Yes.
made enough space, Skippy's just gonna really push you out of the driver's seat and be like this crazy kid beside you who's like, get out of the car. You like both of you need to arrive to the destination. So if Dynamo isn't able to drive, then we need to give again more space to Skippy. And then the important one for you also is, oh, that's a zero instead of an O, owning it. Own it, which is really training yourself to acknowledge even that smallest thing that has been done and go like, yep, I just did it. And this is really, really key, Amber. So
Mm-hmm.
we touched, but it was, I feel, maybe too big, kind of to swallow in one piece. Like, okay, how to make this shift? So I came up with this nacho thing for you.
Love it.
Um, yeah, so really important to do it. And I want you to actually just go through it now, sort of. If there is anything, and I'm sure there is always something Skippy could say, let's just do it. So can you
Okay.
just take me through?
Yeah. Um, I think at the moment, what's daunting is just it feels like there's a lack of opportunity right now. I am comfortable that there will be later, but that feeling of right now, there's not going to be much happening. And
Mm-hmm,
I'm struggling at work to stay motivated because
mm-hmm,
I'm just really not happy with the culture. And I'm struggling to say, I need to be happy here. I
mm-hmm,
need to keep myself tucked into a job until
mm-hmm,
things do change, right? So
mm-hmm,
that's sort of the background that I'm finding from a work perspective is my biggest
mm-hmm,
spiral.
mm-hmm,
So what is Skippy saying is you're not going to find anything. You're going to be here for ages. This is hopeless.
mm-hmm,
You're going to just be miserable. Better off just, you know, sucking it up or finding something else completely
mm-hmm,
boring.
mm-hmm,
It's sort of the hopeless. It's sort of the, yeah, this isn't going to happen. It's a
mm-hmm.
pipe dream. It's something you would,
Yeah.
love to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I am.
Yeah.
And that feeling that comes with it then is just that hopelessness, that sort of
Mm-hmm.
on top of everything else there's
Mm-hmm.
this.
Mm-hmm.
And where so much of my who I am has been derived from my work me,
Mm-hmm.
and now I'm finding that balance has shifted so much in the last year. I've given so much less time. The time I've had with you and the time working on these things has been the vast majority of what I've done related to work me.
Mhm.
And that clearly, in my own view, has not been enough, right?
Mhm.
I have not put in there what I wanted to. I have been, all this other stuff has stopped me. And so that sort of that hopelessness of what has been such a major part that right now is just going to suck for a while
Mhm.
on top of everything else sucking
Mhm. Mhm.
just feels unmanageable. And that for me is a very difficult word to say out loud because you know how much I like to manage and control things.
Yeah. And what is hopelessness? It's the sadness. It's like, yeah.
And
Uh,
and it's the stuckness
uh-huh.
because I'm the breadwinner.
Yeah.
I haven't been at this company long enough to get a really nice package if I felt I needed to leave.
Mhm.
And I feel stuck. And I
Mhm.
know that if I start being negative about the job, if I allow myself
Mhm.
to just go, I hate this,
Mhm.
I will be in trouble because I will talk myself out of a job and I can't afford to for
Mhm.
lots of reasons.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I know I need to get to a point where I can at least be moi.
Mhm. Yeah.
And it's not exactly how I like to be. But right
Mhm.
now, I take
Mhm.
it.
Mhm.
So it
Mhm.
feels like, yeah, it's all of these things together, which I think is probably already the first time I've probably said all that out loud.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because
So
my
just
therapist,
yeah.
I am dealing with
Uh-huh.
a therapist,
Uh-huh.
but we're dealing with all the personal side of
Mhm.
this, not the
Mhm.
work side.
Yeah, and this is like I don't know if it's on top or the base of it. Like really,
I don't know
it's a
either.
big part. It's a big
It's a
part.
big
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Okay. So it's just like I want you to notice now, like it's like this hopelessness and stuckness. It's probably basically the sadness of it, right? It's like there is no energy in it. And I just want you to like I want to invite you to make this little space now to be like, okay, this is fucking sad. And I am allowing this sadness just to be there for a little bit of time. And I know you are trying to not go in the negative spiral, but naming it and giving it the little space to say, like, I see you, like, I acknowledge that this is sad. This is fucking sad that I can't be like, my superpower, kind of Kate behind Ember, as I usually am. It is fucking sad. And why it's important to just like name it. And I just realized I want to send you this other thing, or maybe you know it. It's this feelings wheel thing. Have you seen that? It's like a
I've seen
diet.
something, yeah, and it sort of helps you sort of identify what.
Exactly. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yes, I have
So
seen that.
yeah, I can just share a
I think it would
copy
be
with you.
useful to see it because I'm
Yeah.
sure there's probably different
Mm-hmm.
variants of it and such out there.
Yeah, but the thing is, when you are able to name it and give it even like that little space of acknowledgement, this is what I am experiencing now. So, what you said, the stuckness, the hopelessness, they are totally valid. And you can see them in different interpretations, but they will go to this base feeling of sadness. And when you're able to name it and be like, just for a few sighs, even like, I see my own sadness. It makes the whole difference. Because what happens then is not you're not anymore in the sadness, even when you are suppressing it and not allowing yourself to feel it, but you are like somewhat in a meta
Sit
position.
outside.
Exactly. You're like standing just, kind of on the verge of this sadness river that's just flowing, but you're not already like flowing in the river. So this is critically important. And when you're able to give yourself that that ability to notice and name it, but also allow yourself to just feel that, okay, it's sadness, and in different days you're gonna need different amount of space to feel it. Some days it will be just like, oh well, this is sadness, I am sad about it. Some days you're gonna be like, I want to lie on the floor and cry and die, kind of have this moment as well. But I'll just tell you that no, like hormone wise, emotions are hormones basically. No emotion can last more than 7 minutes, even if you're about to kill somebody and you're in this, terrible anger
I
attack.
love
Yeah.
that.
hmm So in 7 minutes, if you want to kill somebody, just wait for 7 minutes. You're gonna let go of that idea. So the point here is, without noticing, okay, that language of, okay, what's really happening, without allowing and being able to name and be a little bit outside of this emotion, but also leave it through, you're going to be in that spiral, because the skippy will always be like, okay, I have my space, you fucking give it to me. And totally get a rational idea of, I cannot allow to, go down the negative spiral. But that's not going to help. I have to be very honest here. That's not going to help. Because if you keep suppressing it, it's just like, it may help for a day or a week, but it's going to accumulate here, right? And then it's just going to blow you away. So my recommendation here, and I see it with a lot of my clients when we do this type of change work, but also I see it for myself in life, noticing, naming, allowing yourself to experience it. You're like, okay, I mean, I maybe need to cry now. Then I just get myself a space to go and cry about it. I it's usually done in 10 minutes, maybe an hour, maybe a day. Fuck, I mean, but you give yourself that space. And then this choice is so much easier to make. It's so much more natural because you've actually let your hormones about this previous steps out. And then your rational mind actually has a chance to come back, and be like, okay, so yeah, this is sad. And okay, still, I know I want to have this change. I know I want to make this choice. Like in your own example, like you said, I want to get into therapy. I want to get my hormones fixed. It's a choice. And that choosing, the act of choosing is going to really, if it doesn't spin, you really need to make more space than for the previous ones. And then this having a go, I really thought this could work. Because I wanted to take out the pressure of, okay, now I need to conquer the world and make, kind of a podcast series about CSR and, kind of all the impact on the business. Let's just take that out. It needs to be something, some tiny possible thing. Maybe just, okay, skimming through LinkedIn, finding a post and, a new interesting person and clicking the button of connect. Maybe it's writing out a header for your future post, like the tiniest possible thing, but it needs to be a thing, right? If you can't arrive to a thing, you haven't done the previous steps
Yeah,
then.
yeah. No, it's absolutely, and that is always what fits me. So that yes, no, that totally works.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
And
but I
then
like
that,
that the
yeah.
smallest thing that really that hits home at the moment. It's also something I was talking to my therapist about. Is like, I'm feeling like all of these things have to happen right now. They don't all have
Mhm.
to happen. The big things don't have to happen right now.
No.
Something may need to happen, but not
Yeah.
everything needs to happen. And
Yeah.
that sort of all of this fits so nicely.
Super,
It's
super. and
resonating
and then
now.
and that just needs to be something that, is repeatable. That's what we
Yeah.
want. Because I mean, it's not going to be new news. It's just going to accumulate. And that last step is crucially important, because when you're able to acknowledge yourself and be like, I have done something, you really build up your neural pathways of, I can do stuff. You get back into the dynamo, and like, it just really accumulates that positive spiral. So yeah, so we said the hopelessness, the stuckness, the sadness. How does Skippy feel now? Can we get the dynamo, or is there anything else for Skippy to add?
No, I think just seeing this really helps. Like I said, it fits with the other things I've been hearing. It's
Hmm.
hard for me that allowance is the hardest step.
Hmm.
It really, I find that very difficult to do. But like you said, you can't suppress it. It happens one way or another, whether I
Definitely.
want it to or not. And that's why I think I've been so stuck,
Hmm.
is that I can't find how I need to just sort of let this be. It's
Hmm.
so beyond my control freak tendencies that
Hmm.
that's what gets me, and that's where I need to. I love the 7 minute thing actually, because if I can recognize that, I can just sort of let it wash just for
Hmm.
10 minutes.
Definitely.
And
Yeah.
then already something small.
Hmm.
I really like this. This is really useful. Thank you. I would feel
Okay.
better.
And I just want to put this out there. Maybe this is helpful as well. So sometimes when you say, okay, I really cannot allow for something to happen, and there's this whole bunch of fear around something. Um, and I'm just going to put this, it's really maybe a strange example, but I realized in my therapy like years ago that I have a terrible fear of my partner cheating on me, which is from the previous generations, a fear that I've inherited. And I was talking to my therapist about it. And it was a brilliant advice from the guy. He's like, you know what? You need to really go like samurai mode. There's Japanese
Mm-hmm.
samurais, they die before the battle. What this means is that they've already like lived through a possible reality of their own death, in my case, an act of cheating. Um, and then there is no fear anymore. They kind of really, given the visionary idea of how this happens, they've experienced the feelings related to it. They've been like, okay, what are the potential consequences of this, like worst case scenario, like you can really just spell it out. I did. And then, okay, I won't say that. I will say that the next night I really had like fever of, I don't know, close to, terrible fever. But I'm not fearful of that anymore. I've been like, okay, this is theoretically possible. I really don't want this to happen, but in theory can happen. And what is that next thing I'm going to do should that happen? So I'm like, well, I'm going to take my favorite cup. I'm going to have a cup of herbal tea, cry maybe for days and months, but okay, I'm just going to take my cup. That's it. So putting it out there, if you find at one point to like to make to do like helpful to make this exercise, living through the worst case scenario fear of what is going to happen. Because again, we're actually doing the same thing here. We're putting it in the awareness, in the allowance of okay, let's just open up that closed box of fear. What can happen?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because when it's in the box, it's gonna be really hitting, kind of from the sellers. Hmm.
That tends to be where as a project manager background, tends to be where I go anyway. But it's sort of, yeah, recognize it's like a memento mori. It's sort
Yeah,
of it's gonna happen. It's very yes. Some of this stuff's gonna happen. Then what? What are you gonna
uh-huh.
do? And then it gets you back into action mode again.
Exactly. Right. And again, it's maybe that smallest thing. I'm just gonna take
Yeah,
my cup
yeah.
and have a cup of tea. Then we see how the world unfolds. And I must say,
Mm,
okay, that was really a very helpful. It's not a work example, but it has been
I love it.
really releasing and
Yeah.
allowing some air into the relationship and ultimately making it better. Mhm.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. It's again,
Okay.
it's just about the naming it. It's the
Hmm.
recognition of it. It's to
Hmm.
say,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. Okay.
Okay, good. Acknowledging it, we said it, right? It's just going to be like you're going to build up, kind of, I did it, I did it, I did it like
Yeah.
this, then. Now, Amber, my proposal to you is this. I know it's great to have a session, to have a motivating conversation, but it's in the action, right? So, what I want to propose, and tell me how you feel about it, is that past today's session, let's give it a week, maybe on
Okay.
WhatsApp, of daily nachos. I mean, I'm not gonna be like watching you, but I am offering this if you want.
Yeah.
It Some studies say it takes 21 days to build a habit. I don't know if I have 21 days. Maybe yes, maybe not. But for a week, I'm definitely there. And I'm gonna be so interested to see how your nachos go. And if possible, please keep sharing for 21 days in a row. Then maybe someday I will stop reacting due to known reasons. But I will read it when I can, and I would love to see that. If you feel this is too much, you, of course, you don't have to do it, but this is just, kind of an open door here. You don't need to respond
Thank
now
you.
if you
Let
need
me
to
have
think
a
about
think about that.
it.
I'm just so hesitant to commit to something knowing that I might fail again, that I've just, which is again, so not like me. But
Okay.
it's such a small thing. But I maybe if I start with it, I'll find how helpful it is. So I'm
Sure.
absolutely starting with it.
Okay, great. So just like
Thank you. And thank you.
have your
Again, the
time
offer
and
is so fabulous. Thank you.
mm, okie doke. So then I wanted to bring up this two realities. So what Skippy said is absolutely true. There is a reality of, okay, there are not many roles. The market is tough. I'm always going to be on this miserable job that I hate and it won't work. This reality exists, yes. And there is another reality, which is I am on my way to this space and I can create opportunities, right? And so this other reality also exists. So the question is, which one do you choose? And you clearly know I like this black and white, or white and yellow in this case, comparison. One is kind of from Skippy, the other one is from Dynamo, obviously. And I just wanted to share these two examples. So there are two ladies, one of which has been a client of mine, the other one, we just know each other for a long time. Both of them were in tough market, miserable work, hating it. But what they did, one was at a big, let's put it this way, finance related to big organization, and for a while she wanted to migrate into sustainability. um, Same story, like breadwinner, can't afford to lose it, hates it, was talking for ages with all her possible stakeholders about this change towards sustainability, even got a degree in sustainability in parallel. And was like, yeah, maybe one day, like, or not really, very, very fluffy responses. And in the end, what she started creating is her own reality. So what she did, and I'm going to share the link to her profile with you. She started creating, even being at her finance job and telling her boss that she's trying to migrate, this 1 minute sustainability news videos, which she posted weekly. Needless to say that after, I'm not sure if it was a year in a row or maybe a little more, but now she is a LinkedIn top voice on sustainability.
Wow.
And she got, through the visibility move, she got invited to become a partnerships director in a scale up. Um, Obviously, like sustainability based, I think it's earth regeneration, lens regeneration. She has now moved even to another job in a similar field, but that came in
Wow.
a time of, okay, there is no roles in sustainability, nobody
Mm,
needs that shit anymore. Like she was doing this visibility thing constantly, and it just came her way. The guy was like, I love what you're sharing. And there was not even very much of her perspective, to be honest. It was more of a
Mm.
pile up and the way she perceives, kind of some of this news. And it was like an interesting format. It wasn't a depressing, kind of we're all gonna die. So she just added her, I would say, own attitude to it and the way she looks at things. And they needed somebody who looks at things rather positively. So it didn't need to be very complicated. So what she told me is it took her yeah, she was saving some of the news, and then it took her maybe a couple of hours to choose which ones to kind of put in this 1 minute thing. It did take her commitment to, of course, release this thing every week. Yep, that's a commitment. Some of these videos were really like, the starter ones you can see there as starter videos. But then, yeah, she was like, okay, it was getting momentum. She took a little course on speaking, on looking good in front of the
Wow.
camera. Anyways, but I'm just sharing how this worked. The other one, who is not a client of mine, but a good acquaintance, she was working for a media company, and she had this idea of, okay, women are underrepresented, yada yada. So she created an idea of an award crossed with a sponsorship thing. So she was basically asking companies, okay, who is like an underestimated lady in the organization who deserves a promotion? And she did get some sponsors, men typically, to really just, kind of talk them through how to grow. And basically, it got so much momentum, just a fantastic format. So
Mm.
she wasn't using she was posting regularly. That's what she did, except for creating this like platform. She was
Hmm.
posting rather regularly on the topic of women and the importance of sponsorship. So with time, gained huge publicity, and basically it wasn't also rainbows and unicorns. It never is, actually. But what happened is, when she was done for her own reasons with this award thing, she got invited to join a really great executive search company, which is focusing on getting
Wow.
more women to the top. So
Mm.
I'm going to share with you both profiles, just for you to follow,
Nice.
have a look. But
Mm, lovely.
the idea here is really like they could have chosen the hopeless
Yeah.
reality they were in, right? And everybody was telling them, I know firsthand, that, oh, kind of it's tough, no roles are available in your field. It's all the same language, actually,
Yeah, yeah,
always.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Interesting.
So my question to you, obviously, when you're in this mindset of, okay, what if I create my own opportunities and I am already acting like I am in the space? We don't know yet what the role is, we don't know yet what the organization is. What would it be that I can share, that I can start doing? What comes to mind?
Yeah, I feel like, and that's where I think maybe I've been struggling a little bit with the profiles that we talked about before on LinkedIn.
Mhm.
I don't I need to figure out sort of what that is. I not being close to it every day. It has to be my own perspective on it. Maybe it's I mean, it was always meant to be about the challenges and sort of how you deal with those. But hmm, yeah, I think this is where I've been struggling. Sort of where do I connect to it well enough and feel like I have any ability to say these things out loud? Maybe it's more this sort of good news approach of like what these things are doing for other people. I mean, obviously, if I think about what
Mhm.
motivates me is how this has impact. So maybe it's more about how these teams and the activities they're doing are impacting others and more just sharing those stories a little bit more.
Mhm. Mhm.
That feels somehow connected to what makes me motivated is impact.
Mhm.
And maybe
Mhm.
that's what I was focused on, like challenges and how to overcome them. But
Mm.
maybe that feels more Skippy language. And if I want to
Maybe.
focus on
Uh-huh.
Dynamo, then it needs to be more focused on what gives me energy.
Right. And what I'm noticing, let me know if this lands, is like you've been trying to put an expert position, expert hat on, whereas Skippy goes like, okay, who are you to talk about this? You're not in this space. So yeah, exactly. Like, how can we tweak it to, you don't need an expert hat. You're just interested. You're exploring how it comes together. So yeah, exactly that. And actually, both of them never had expertise, both of these examples, in the topic.
Mm-hmm.
They just came out with, okay, let's try this, or use known statistics like there is a lack of women and sponsorship helps. Or here is the good news approach. Indeed, like she didn't need to even connect with any of these people. You have a choice of possibly connecting with some of them. What
Mm-hmm.
could it be? So I'm just like, let's just spend some time brainstorming and finding that base that feels, yeah, why not?
Hmm. Yeah.
What could it be?
I mean, certainly that would be also a way to connect to other people. Indeed. Hey, I see you're already in this role. These are things that I'm trying to focus on. Um, some of the contacts that I've already had and talked to that I've got content for, but just sat there in my document because
Mhm.
I haven't been up for it. So it gives me a chance to sort of go back to them and go, hey, let's think about this a little differently. Instead of telling me your challenges, tell me some of your wins
Mhm. Mhm.
and what has that meant. Um, but I think also, what does it do? It means that I need to search more. I need I it will drive me more into a position where I can say I have more expertise on this. I know more about this. I'm finding more people. I'm finding in order to do this, I have to find the right people. By definition, that will do two of the things I need to do. One, get more contacts, and two, help shut Skippy up about the fact that I'm not an expert, but these are things that I can gain more knowledge in.
Mhm. Mhm. And yeah, I like that. So that explorative head of nobody, kind of nobody. I don't need anybody's like permission to explore, right? I
Mm-hmm.
can just explore. I'm an explorer. And maybe I would even recommend, um, yeah, when you do have that conversation with your manager and when you start
Mm-hmm.
being somewhat more public, I had a few thoughts on that I'll just share with you async. Let's not spend the time now on it, of how you could change your header and bio into the
Mm-hmm.
explorative mode of things, right? That would make it totally valid. You're just exploring. So, can we please go a little more practical here and just name a few, like, I don't know, 3 to 5 ideas of what are the topics that you could explore? Maybe some people come to me. Let's just do a little brain dump here of what
Yeah.
could put some momentum to it.
I think certainly I've got like three people that I'd already spoken to that I've got
Mm-hmm,
content sort of for, but I needed to go back to them anyway and go, gee, I'm so sorry. We spoke, you gave me your time,
mm-hmm,
and I
mm-hmm.
didn't put anything into this.
Yeah.
So, I didn't publish this like I said I would. So
Mm-hmm.
here's what I'd like to do. Is that possible? So that certainly is a good way to reconnect to people I had sort of talked
Yeah, well, I
with.
see you. Uh-huh.
Um, and gets me back in. It means that I can spend a little bit more time on some of the companies that I want to be focusing on. So go to the
Mm-hmm.
websites of these companies that I think of, some of these Plan B companies, um, to really look at some of the things they're sharing in news kind of stories. So I've got practical current
Which,
examples.
which of the, let's just kind of make a little plan out of it, no?
Hmm.
I'm like, who are the people? Who are the companies? Let's just give it a name.
Yeah. All right. So the people would be Brendan from my old company.
Uh-huh.
It would be a Salesforce person that's still there that I'm waiting to be connected. That's not an old connect. That's not a new connect. That's an old connect. An Adidas person, something that Matthias has done,
Mm-hmm.
that he can do without having to have PR, because that was my big problem with the
Mm-hmm.
ESG leader was
Mm-hmm.
PR approval.
Mm-hmm.
Um, who else had I already spoken to? I could speak to the person that I'd met recently, that new contact that's at the company. Now her name is going spare.
Yeah, as long
The
as
French German woman. I know who I
it's
mean.
okay. Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
my brain fog is real.
Yeah,
So there's three
totally
people right
knows.
off the top that
Uh-huh.
I've talked to, that I had not published about, that I could easily go back to and say, hey, you know, would this be something we could do differently?
Uh-huh.
Um, then two would be some companies.
Uh-huh.
Uh, I would say B-list companies, um,
Okay.
like rituals.
Fantastic. Mm-hmm. Ooh,
I'm sure
lovely.
there'll be five off the
Mm-hmm.
top, and five off the top of my head that I could, not off the top of my head, but certainly a few others there that I would say things that are going on. Um, and then when I get back, of course, my own, right?
Mm-hmm.
My own build stuff.
Mm-hmm. How many do you have? Do you have something like that you've already spelled out?
So the people that, I mean, other companies.
No, I meant like I
What do you
think we
mean?
discussed some of the post topics before.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm waiting. Oh, I've got some of those topics spelled out, but they were more about, one about sort of,
okay.
there were two sides. There were one, the people that, about sort of, um, it was, what are some of the challenges that are currently faced, and how are the skills that I have valuable in addressing those
Mm-hmm.
challenges, was where we started with.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Super.
and then the other ones that we talked about were the ones sort of related to the individual elements of this power to provoke concept.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love
And
this.
and,
Yeah.
and that's still, and I
Perfect.
definitely do want to do those, because
Uh-huh.
it hits me more and more, actually.
Super.
It continues to just blow me away, that how important that has become for me,
Uh-huh.
um, to sort of recognize who I am, and what that means, and where I can add value. So that is definitely something else that I can do on top of that. I still definitely want to
Uh-huh.
do the power stroke.
Uh-huh.
I need to, but that's not an ad. That's a hero stroke series. And I should just, that one is easier to do. I don't know why I don't want to start there, except it's vulnerable. But that's exactly what I love about these things. I'm loving that about these posts.
Yeah, and they would be so valuable. I'm like, I
And
bet they.
they're all about the dynamo.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I need to start. It's where I need to start. I already had, I think, five sort of areas listed out about
Mm-hmm.
what that is. That's about not just, that's not being a yes man, that's speaking on behalf of other people, that are representing other people, that is um, true, open honesty, that's confidence. Um, anyway, okay. So after, to come back to the sort of the CSR side of things, after the build is definitely going to be something more about the personal side, like what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
Um, is there something else that's part of that? Potentially an interview with one of the family members.
Ooh, tell me.
I think that will be harder because, well, I'll see how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, at least from this build. but it's giving me an idea already. So in Madagascar, where we're going, I have my understanding is that very, very few people will speak English. Most will
Mm.
speak French, but all they're going to speak their own like local dialect as well. I
Mhm.
don't speak French. So we will have a translator with us, but
Mhm.
that will make a lot of that contact day to day more difficult. But if I had, for example, a friend of mine is a native French speaker.
Mhm.
So could I then afterwards have an interview with what have those first few months done for you? What has that impact been on your life? But the other thing I could
Mhm.
do is go back to the group we worked with in Kenya and ask
Mhm.
if I could get their help to connect to the family because now that's been 2 years. That's
Mhm. Oh,
that's a different
fantastic.
level of an impact.
Right. Wow.
Um, so that's
I love
something I
that.
could do for sure.
Mhm.
More of the, again, the personal side of things. And then there should be something with the company impact, right? Because this is where CSR is struggling, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, is that often these are sort of the greenwash and why
Mhm.
these departments are being decimated right now.
Yeah.
Sustainability is often staying just because they have a fiduciary responsibility or they've got an EU guidelines commitment that they must meet on some of those things. But
Mhm.
on more the philanthropy or the CSR side, they don't have
Mhm.
that. And therefore, a lot of
Ooh.
companies are getting axed or cut dramatically because they don't see the bottom line
Mm.
impact. So there have
Mm.
to be examples out there of the bottom line impact where it is
Mhm.
making a difference for company, where companies have seen that. And maybe that's a topic on its own to sort of dig into to find out what's out there about that.
Ooh, I love that. And I love that you're taking this approach of, yeah, not the
Yeah.
expert, but the exploration hand.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And I like that as far as tying that back into my header because then it feels less and I it's not that I want to decommit,
Ah,
but it's about how do I recognize the fact that this isn't going to happen overnight and that I don't expect anybody to solve my problems for me, but every little step that anybody could take is about helping me explore.
wow. Super. Fantastic. I'm in love with this. Mm.
Okay, that really makes me feel better too. Cool.
Mm.
Yeah. See, this just
Okay.
makes me feel so much better.
Of course, because it's a well, it's a goal, you know. It's not exactly. You don't need to put yourself in the action mode. There is so much pressure in it now. You just put yourself in this lightness of it's even playfulness, you know. Like, yeah, what if? Okay.
Possibility.
Mm. Okay, Amber. So how many action points do you have there?
So that's about 7, 8. So I've got my nacho notes to you.
Mm-hmm.
I've got the 5 areas of exploration in
Wow.
CSR. I've
Mm-hmm.
got the Power to Provoke series. And I've got the LinkedIn header redraft.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's a lot, but
Feels
it's
too
not
much.
undoable. Well, I'm not going to do it all at once, especially over
Mm-hmm.
the next 2 months because now it gets into crazy time.
Mm-hmm.
But over the next months,
Mm-hmm.
summer, that's absolutely, bits and pieces. It comes in a sort of an order.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay, here's a question. Um, if we like this is kind of an action planish thing, right? Um, Whenever Skippy takes over and you're like, oh, too much, not possible, too many points in this, what would be the priorities, so to say, like buckets that you can,
Mhm.
if need be, refill with something else, what do you think are the priorities to create that new reality for you?
I think the LinkedIn header needs to be first.
Mm-hmm.
I need to be ready um, to be able to get other people to engage with me and to help me to make
Mm-hmm.
this more real. So that needs to
Mm-hmm.
become, as soon as I can do that with my boss, I need
Mm-hmm.
to be able to be ready to do that. That needs to be first.
Mm-hmm.
Then second becomes, hmm, that's the question between the two, because one is building the credibility, the other is my personal thing. I think the CSR stuff is first because it's about building the credibility.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say probably in the order that we already had them, because it starts with the people that I already worked with.
Uh-huh, super.
So that's already in the right order. And then the Power to Provoke series, because that can be, it could be done in between, sprinkled through, but I also don't want to lose,
Yeah.
I don't want to have too many threads going.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. How do you do that when you've got a couple of different things you want to do with your
Mm-hmm.
presence, with your content?
Mm-hmm.
How do you balance that?
In terms of priorities of structure, or what do you mean?
Or like, do you do one and finish it and then start another so you don't confuse people? Or do you typically you have different sort of content
Mm,
streams
yeah.
going on at the same time?
Right. Okay. Disclaimer here when I was doing more content. Um, Here is the thing. I'm asking myself, okay, what do I want people to understand about what I'm doing and the message? What's my message basically to the world, right? And obviously, when I was also transitioning and what I do now. And okay, here's another disclaimer. I'm also transitioning in what I'm doing because before it was purely like career oriented. Now there is much more, the CP Dynamo work in it. My message is also changing. So I want people to get it, right? And therefore, well, really, this is not the best year to take me as an example, but I was sharing basically the transitions I'm making and making it clear for people. uh what retreats, meditation? Like, how does this even link? So here is what I'm going to say. If you look at my profile, I think I had like 2, 3 posts in the last half a year, but some of them were really, really good in the sense, and people like reached out personally then being like, "Ooh, I get it," or "I didn't have this perspective that this can be linked. Interesting, tell me more." And so they're getting it, but I have to make the bridge for them and share my lens of how this is coming together. So back to you. I really want to make you think about this bridging idea of how do you take people along your journey and
Mhm.
how do you make it clear? Like, why are you like making this transition from L&D to CSR? What's the link? What's your thinking about it? What's the message, Amber? How do you make people get it?
I think that's for me, the link is the bridge to build is that this is something that has become a huge part of what makes me tick.
Mm-hmm.
And that I want to spend more time doing it, but also understanding it. And I think it all comes back to this. Let me think if I can think this through out loud. One thing I was really struck me is that I did talk about last year was how anything can help, right? This, and it comes back to what you just talked about too with the have a go. The smallest action can
Mm-hmm.
make a difference, right? It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have to be a huge thing. The smallest thing made big impacts.
Mm-hmm.
So, so for me, it's about how do I help other people see that even
Mm-hmm.
small things they do can make
Mm.
a difference.
Mm. I love that.
And how companies, how things that may feel small and even geographically or amount of money can feel small, but they can make a huge difference. Um,
Mm.
can things people or companies do? Write that down. Um, and and of course that hits me directly in that somebody gives me $25 towards my fundraising campaign. But
Uh-huh.
what did that mean for the family who we've helped,
Uh-huh.
right?
Uh-huh.
It could be a company who does something and they cleaned up garbage for one day, or they worked at the food bank to put together packages. Well, what does that mean for the how many families are helped by that food bank
Uh-huh.
kind of thing? So I think it's about, boy, this really comes back to your nacho stuff again, acknowledging and having a go, doing the small thing, and then acknowledging that that small thing can make a difference instead of just going, I'm not going to bother about it because it's such a small thing.
Mm.
Right. And
This is
so
fantastic. Yeah.
I want to, it's about that. How do I be part of the multiplier?
Oh, ooh, this is so good. This is so good.
Uh, and that's sort of maybe what I want to, that's maybe how I tie it together to individuals to help them connect.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then I need to bring it back. What do I want them, whether it's what do I want from them? That small thing is who in your company is doing this kind of stuff. That's all it
Mm-hmm.
is, right? That's
All right. And
what
you, yeah, yeah, go on.
no, that's it, sort of what companies do you see in your life that are doing this well?
Fantastic. And what you make me think immediately of is how much more committed and loyal the employees would be, knowing that their company is doing something worthy and impacting real people. But also, like as a consumer, I'm like, I'll totally buy more from a company I have a positive image of, right? Instead of looking at the price tag and be like, okay, do I really need to pay another $20 for this? Um, yeah. So I'm like, did fantastic. This is really so good. Being part of the multiplier, totally love this.
Hmm. Yeah, I like that all's well to sort of use that from both sides, like your company. What is your company doing
Do you know
about
if
these things? Do you
and
know what your company does, right?
yeah.
And then who are the companies you love as a consumer that do
Mhm.
these that you want other people to know about?
Yeah. But yeah, just a like a thing to share here. So coming from Danone in my previous life, Danone does a lot
Yeah.
of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But also I can say that I think it was only at one event where they really talked about real people. And there were some, kind of interviews like with the family sort of, that really, kind of this touches you. And then you're like, okay, this is not a CSR thing anymore, and just like we are so good, another presentation of why we're so good. So that human connection is so key, at least for me, because otherwise I'm like, well, another general presentation. So how do you make it real? Because only in that realness, in that emotional connection, that that unlocks the loyalty and that
Yeah.
unlocks me as a
Yeah.
consumer. So
Exactly. So I think that's yeah, maybe also it's yeah. What is that extra worth to you, right? What is that
mhm.
commitment? Is that company? Yeah, coming back to that too. Um, I also just thought of two other things. Uh, um, two other people that I've worked with in the past that do a lot of volunteer work on the side that I will add to my list of people.
Mhm.
Um, and then the other thing is, I talked with my leadership team about we were talking about we need to build community in our bigger group.
Mhm.
And so one of the things I'd suggested we do some sort of giving back activity.
Mm.
So I said I would manage that in a future moment. And that would be something else then I could also write about afterwards too.
Hmm. Okay. Part of me is asking, wouldn't that make you at least a little more engaged in your current work?
Oh, for
Um,
sure. For sure.
mhm. Mhm.
In a positive way, which is why I suggested it. So, and I'm feeling that because and it's coming from, it started from a negative place.
Yeah.
Um, no need to go into it, but indeed, that was I've had this a few things lately. I'm noticing the negative and I'm gone like, I need to turn this around. So
Mhm.
I did that here and said, okay, look, if this is the challenge, how do we bring more of that community together? What, is it drinks? Is it we do a sports activity together? Is it do we volunteer activity?
Yeah.
So we started that discussion. And the other one was more like a guy I've had 3 meetings with. He's just been a dick. That's just the only way to describe him every time. And part of me is like, I'm just never going to talk to this guy again. I will just like do anything I can to work around him. So I went to somebody that's working with him right now to say, hey, that I trust, and said, hey, help me understand this guy from your perspective, because I don't want to be like that. So it's one thing I'm trying at the moment is to say, how do I turn those negative situations around in a different way from using another person's perspective? And maybe that's the other thing I need to look at when I'm in this moment is
Mhm.
how would another person, not me, turn this around?
Fantastic. Really. And you're probably going to discover some other side that you're not seeing now. And well, mhm. There is a reason for why people are like that. Nobody's born being mean and hating other people and being this. So,
Yeah, exactly. So if I can understand that, then maybe I can sort of work through, give him some, I don't know, space, give him some, a little bit of allowance to
exactly.
some extent.
Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. But
Okay,
I'm
so then I've
really,
got
yeah.
I've got four priorities.
Uh-huh.
Ground zero priority is the nacho notes.
Hmm.
Then the LinkedIn header stuff with the exploration like that. Then the
Hmm.
CSR stories,
Hmm.
and then the power to provoke.
Hmm. Hmm. How does that feel? Is that too heavy, too much? Like, mm,
If I feel that I say I'm not going to do this in the next month, yes, that feels fine. I know that with April and May, I am not able to do it all. The things that I can do for April and May, I'm pretty clear on. I can definitely do the nacho notes. I can definitely do the LinkedIn header. And I could probably start on the CSR stuff.
uh-huh.
That
Okay.
gives me, yeah, no, it feels doable.
All right.
As long as I am understanding that I have to do this in a little bit longer term than I would love.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah, actually I told you I did a little like brain dumping with a header. Do you want to see my options or do you want to
Yeah,
yeah?
please.
Because I have them. So yeah, there we go. In the chat.
Thank you. Oh, look at that. Let's see. It's one.
Okay.
Mm,
You
what
can
I
just
love about
yeah.
one is the bridging,
Uh-huh.
because that's always been one of those things, those core skills is the bridge.
Exactly.
that I bring two different groups together. So that I love. What I'm wondering about is the L&D leader. It is. I have to keep it out. It's what I have done.
You can see after your conversation with your boss, you can, well, if I'm around, you can tell me how it went. But for now, it's like, okay, like maybe if we keep it safe, you already
Exactly.
show where you come from.
Yeah.
And then anyhow in the bio in the about section you need to spell out this transition so people get it, at least for the beginning of it. Um yeah, so this is like a drafty, thing you can
Like
keep.
it. Yeah.
Just like spin around it, and then it will require slightly more, explanation. But again, it's really taking off that expert hat. You are so much the bridge, and every time we talk about the way you look at it, for me what I noticed is I've picked up through you this idea of understanding it has to do with the business, it has to do with the people inside the organization, which is your primary expertise is now people inside the organization.
Mm.
And then it has this real world impact, and therefore I just actually, yeah, I picked this understanding through you. So
Nice.
you are bridging it, and I even thought, yeah, okay, I have a little slide on this, I'll share. Yeah, so leaving this out there, can also send it by email, but here is what I wanted to share. I wanted to offer you this structure of, you're talking about business, you're talking about people and the human side. Here, I mean more the inside, and you're talking about the world impact. So how it all comes together. Again, this is, I realized this through you. And then I thought maybe it's a decent structure you could keep for, yeah, actually explaining the whole concept of how you look at it, of putting some of the posts and the questions.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe this is helpful.
Yeah.
So, out of what you've already named, I mean, I think they totally fall in one of the buckets, but also maybe this stuff. So, why something fails, why something works in terms of CSR initiatives, what L&D taught you about the change. Okay, maybe you see how you shuffle stuff. Yeah, so basically what it has to do with
Oh, I
with
love
the
these.
business. Yeah, so just see and play with it. So you're gonna have this. It's just my brain dump basically,
No, fantastic.
um
Love that. Yeah.
but yeah, what I want you to keep is really this three fold, because you are bridging it. You are talking about it like
Yeah.
no one have heard before. So, and yeah, under the umbrella of exploration, I think it should be pretty, you know, pretty light, pretty easy, like pretty no pressure to explore different sides of it. And even if you take even the same topic, I don't know, even the same initiative, you could just tweak and twist it. See? So I'm just putting this in the natural mindset. There are always these three buckets you're talking about. And to me, this is the unique perspective you're bringing.
I've never mapped that out this way. It's definitely, I'm going, yeah, I recognized it. It speaks to me because you're right. But I've never broken it down that way.
I didn't come up with it. I just like sat down and reflected a little bit of what am I hearing from Amber? And I was like,
Hmm.
huh, this is maybe the first time I realized that, okay, this is not just, kind of this the do stuff to look good. It's actually how you do it through people. It really impacts the business. Then I started to realize all the cases when I became addicted to a certain brand because I read a certain story about how they,
Hmm.
source the chocolate well, or kind of
Yeah.
get all this ingredient. And I'm like, yes, I am willing to pay more for this. Yeah, and then all this, real impact is so motivating. It's not another diagram on, how many projects we've done. I don't care how many projects you've done. So yeah, it's through you. It's
Thank
just a
you.
reflection. Mhm.
No, it's it resonates so deeply, and I just hadn't really backed out of it enough to think about that. But that's absolutely, yeah, that's the intersection. Oh my gosh, thank you.
We'll take it.
It's the second
Oh,
time you've just sort of laid me bare and just in a number of words, just sort of made things seem so much more obvious.
there you go. Okay, so with this now, yeah, what's because I'm like it feels so doable, so complete, so light, like just to go out and explore. Now, out of your priority list, how does what I've shared, some of the playful options with the header and maybe this, how does it change or maybe simplify? And what's then the real, kind of priority list and action plan that you'll take forward?
Um, it, it's
Sort of
still, I think
interesting. Yeah.
I think it means the second, the LinkedIn header feels a lot easier with that to
Hmm.
build off of, because then it's just
Hmm.
very simple.
Hmm.
The nacho stuff is just going to be just, I need to commit to it. There's nothing that's just me saying I do this. Um, the CSR stuff, I think also the discussion we've had of how do we engage with people, right? Because this whole social media thing is not my forte. So you asking me these questions, how do you get people to engage back, right? What are the things that
Um,
give them a
yes.
chance to reply?
Yeah.
That is important for me to have a good view on that. That has to be built into the post, to the thing itself, is how do I get people to engage with that? And what would be useful for me
Hmm.
to build that expertise, to sort of understand things more deeply, or to at least sort of keep that engagement up.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. One more here that I just want to note, is how do you keep exploring without making the whole format of creating it so heavy that it's just unbearable?
Mm.
Is it the posts? And posts are, you know, it's like you write it out, yeah, you perfect it, you engage. But also, I'm just thinking videos are slightly more scary to make, but they are just like so much more alive. Or
Yeah.
sort of, yeah, maybe just some posts with real world you pictures, and have a thought about something as a hook, maybe like this morning coffee, the power to provoke question, something like that people would, okay, like with the case of Elena, the good sustainability news lady. She just tied it up to Friday. She commits to kind of release by noon this thing, and people I know have been waiting to get some good news on Friday noon from her. So yeah, just kind of how can you make the format easy for
Sharp.
you, sharp, and maybe have it like tied to a certain who people would just remember. Like on Wednesdays, Amber is asking a
Yeah, yeah,
question
yeah,
to
yeah,
provoke.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, to make it easier for me, but also sharp for other people to read, mix or see or to consume, however that is. Okay,
Yeah. And
that's
real,
yeah.
because people are just like, okay, we're done with all the perfectness of the world. Yeah.
No,
And
it's
it's,
true. And somebody I've been following recently on social media, he's really good about using video, and they're very short, and they're very just they're in his kitchen, they're in, they're just wherever.
exactly.
And I'm like, I love it. I don't at all mind it. It's not that it doesn't all look professional, but that's not,
What
yeah,
people
no, that's
want.
true. I just, yeah, the idea of videoing myself does not sound fun in the
I
slightest, but
know it's skippy.
maybe I
Like I
need to
have
get
the
over
same.
that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I need to get over that a little bit. And like you said, yeah, even just sharing pictures of you are the things that people engage with most. And I go, ah, but yeah. Okay, good. Thank you. That's fair. I will, and I've seen that the somebody at my old company had this sort of Friday catch up, and with ketchup spelled like the condiment, and
Hmm. Hmm.
the people you that have made it and have branded it, let's say,
Yep.
it means that it adds a bit of structure by definition.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay,
So
I get
yeah,
that.
I like that. So just kind of like have a reflection for yourself. What are the formats that you are enjoying, and what about them? Because for time before I started doing this huge retreats this year, I was doing this Friday meditation thing. Okay, it was really sometimes one or two people showing up, but it just was so nice. Then it was a little more, and then okay, then I stopped doing it. But anyways, it was a format that I liked from somebody, and I just tested it, and it was very nice actually. So, and you're, by the way, not doomed and committed to one format for for the rest of your life, so you can try it out.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That's good advice.
Hmm.
Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, easy for you, real. Yeah, just really people engage with realness. That's something I can say for sure.
Wow. I feel like we've got a plan. I've got a plan. Thank you.
Okay. So, is there anything else, Amber, that's on your mind on the like what Skippy is like, oh wait, I have my last question here, or however many. How does it feel inside Amber now?
It's the spark. There's still that hesitation just because Skippy's been in the chair for so long in the last months. But it's the spark of, yes, this. Like, I can see where this takes
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
And that's already huge. And that spark is enough to sort of level things out. So no, I'm feeling realistically good about it. And I think that's what I need to be really focused on right now, is what's realistic based on my reality, which
Mhm.
I know is all over the shop. And I have to accept that,
Mhm.
right? I have to allow that that is going to be the case. Um, so these feel like things that I can work with that.
Yeah. I feel that. I feel that too. It's not too big. It's just like, huh? Quite doable, like little structure to it. What I really appreciate is how quickly you've picked up the the release of the pressure behind a natural concept. Like, yeah, if you just take it small, step at a time, not rocket science, honestly, but you're a very quick learner. And I feel like, if we just keep spinning this with little progress every day, not every day, but yeah, but just giving
I
it
think, yeah,
some time.
yeah, I have to make it real.
Mhm. This is good. And I really, really want to see how it goes. So again, no pressure. So really just one thing I want you to not feel is pressure. So whenever you're like, oh, I don't want to share this, fine, easy. If the other day you feel like you want to share, share. I would, of course, be curious how things evolve, of course. So if you can, please, share some updates when you feel like. But really, no pressure. Helpful, take it. Not
Thank you.
helpful, easy. And also I'm a no pressure person now. Um, like my due date is estimated to be 17th of April. It's never the due date or in 2% of cases. So I'm like, yeah, okay, I can do that much. I really cannot commit. I have no idea like how much
No,
sleep
exactly.
I will have, how this mess at home will look like, with my older kid already being jealous, and so all the family things and my mom.
Oh,
I have
it's
no idea. I don't know.
no. No, and
Um,
and knowing that you're going to have a chunk of time where you just want to focus on that is just amazing. You don't need to worry about it. Oh, I'm so excited for you.
Thank you. But also just like, I'm allowing myself because I'm slightly workaholic, I'm allowing myself the ability to focus on some other things and not be the perfect mom. So
No.
yeah, that's not going to happen. That's not
I
me. Wrong
I hope you
choice.
do better at that than I did. That's definitely, as I look back, what I struggled with the most as well, and what I wish I could. Yeah, it is, but no, but it's just such a fantastic time, and yeah, It's so lovely that you're allowing yourself to take it. I really, I yeah, I could have probably stayed home longer, but it was a fantastic time. Yeah.
Good.
Oh,
So
now,
nice. So
right.
it's not a
Thank
goodbye, like, kind of
No, no, no,
thing.
no. But
No.
it's I will definitely keep you in touch as things move. But and of course
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear the news once your little girl joins the family. Oh, it's
Yeah,
fantastic.
I'll share. And I'll share the slides of today. I'll share
Please,
this,
yeah,
kind of all these drafts.
yeah,
I'll also add what we said, the feelings wheel, and like how to talk to your manager,
yeah.
some tips that I've seen working very
Perfect.
well.
Thank you. And the
Yeah.
profile of those two women you'd said as well.
Yes, 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 yes,
Perfect.
exactly.
Thank you.
So yeah, one client, one non-client, but they basically did the same thing. So
Love it. Love it.
um, just follow them for a little inspiration,
Will
but
do.
don't put too much pressure on you. Like you don't want that. That pressure will put you out of the driver's seat.
And that's exactly where I am at the moment. And I've always used pressure in a very positive way. And that's one of the things that I'm noticing is changing the most is it's not helping. It's not. And that's so it's good advice. Hard to take, but it is good advice.
Exactly. And you will see that, like that tiniest thing, even if it's not writing or posting, but maybe just like, I don't know, the tiniest thing. What could it be? Like maybe I put the wording in the header of my next post in a different order. That's a thing. And acknowledging, okay, I found a better name, but I did an action. It can be really like, you
Yeah.
need a
Yeah. Yeah. Lydia, thanks so much for everything. Really, it's just been amazing. I value this so much. So it's not goodbye, but I wish you all the best for the coming months. It's just going to be the most amazing time, and I will use my time well.
All right. I can't wait to hear how it goes. All
Thanks,
right.
Lydia. Thanks again for
Thank
everything.
you.
Bye.
Bye.